Keira, I want to look at your 5.02 program. Looks like you were afraid it was going to be huge, so you took the shortcut. Actually, you didn't take the shortcut. That's why you thought it was going to be huge. Let's look at it. Got your program copied and pasted into an idle window here. And you made just a very simple, when I run it, hi. It's like, okay, well, that's not much of a quote or much of anything. It's just a word. And I think you did that because of the way you wrote the program. I think you looked at the sample programs in the lesson, which is always good. Let's look at that. I think you saw this one right here, this first sample program, where they did it letter by letter to make the ASCII, and then one ASCII character, one by one, in a print statement. And you went, oh my goodness, if I do a song lyric or a quote or something like this, it's going to take forever because look at this, one line for each character. Yes, that's the way you looked at it, the way you got it. If you would have gone forward and looked at the other programs, let's go back here to number 4, slide 4 of 4. Here they got 5 words. And look, they didn't write much code for 5 words. When you run the program, it produced all this ASCII. So I'm going to take this and let's say I'm going to just copy 4 lines of code. That's it, 4 lines. And I'm going to go back here and I'm going to go to your program and get rid of all these print statements and put these 4 lines of code in there. And I'm going to change this quote. Let's see, I'm going to put a quote of my own on there that I'd like better. Let's change this to something longer. I just want a longer quote. So here a list has been created called code message. It's a list because it has the brackets, right? So bracket. And then there's a loop. This is for M in message. Now message is what I've called my long quote. So this is going to go through my quote one letter at a time with this loop. One letter at a time. Code message, which is my list. Append, remember that's the command with list that adds to the list. So it's saying add to my list the ASCII character one at a time for every character in my quote. So it's going to start with the B and it's going to look up the ASCII and it's going to add it to my list. And then the E and it's going to convert it to ASCII, add it to my list. Then the F and add it to the list. It's going to do it over and over again. And so then all I have to do after that is just print code message. Let me run this. Look at there. There's all the ASCII right there for my quote in 5 lines. I created it and printed it. And then you're like, okay, but what about this part? Now you got to print your quote out, decode it. That's going to take a while. Well, let's go back to the lesson. If I go back one screen to slide 3, this is slide 4 of 4. Here is a list with a bunch of ASCII in it. And they created an empty message. Use a loop again to do the other direction. Take that empty message and whatever the empty message was, add one character at a time the converted ASCII. So the first time through the loop, it's going to look at that 84. It's going to convert it to a character and add it to new message. It's going to look at 104. Change it back to a character, add it to new message, one by one. So I'm just going to copy. I don't need this. I've already got an ASCII. I look at the program. I've already got code message is already filled with all this ASCII. So I don't need that part. I just need to copy these 4 lines. So let me get rid of your print statement and paste in those 4 lines. So there's where I create the blank message. This is for M in message. Now my ASCII code is not called message. It's called code message. So I need to change this to be code message. So now it's going to look through my ASCII list, one character at a time, convert it to a character and save it here. And then here, there's where we print the message. New message printed right there. There's all the ASCII, and then there's the decoded message. Before you criticize someone, walk a mile in their shoes. That way you'll be a mile from them and you'll have their shoes. And still, that didn't take much code at all. If I want to change my message, I only have to change one line. That's it. This is the only line I have to update. Exclamation mark. Now, if I run my program, there's it. There's the ASCII. This is the only line I have to update. So look a little farther in there. Try to get a little more creative. I think you limited it because you're like, oh my gosh, that's going to take a long time. So I'm just going to say hi. I had other students that did the same method. They saw that first program and was like, oh, okay. And then they would do like 10 lines, just like 2 words, 2 short words or something, just giving you suggestions to make you a better programmer. You're really limiting yourself if you just look at that first program and go, I'll just do it, because there's often an easier way. That's why we've learned loops. That's why we've learned lists and stuff, because we can use that to do all kinds of. See, I can put a whole page of a book in here just by updating that one line, and can convert it all to ASCII and decode it and all of that. So don't be intimidated about the programming and the length of it, because it looked like you was like, ooh, I don't want it to be a really, really, really long program. Doesn't have to be. So the way you did what the program asked. You did convert it to ASCII. You decoded it back. So, I mean, I'm giving you credit for it, but I'm making this video to show you a lot of times there's a better way, and this is a lot simpler, especially if I want to change it. In yours, if you wanted to change the message, you've got to change every line of code, basically. This, I changed one line. So, all right, I'll get this feedback to you. We'll see you in class.